Tyrone West and justice for all victims of police brutality. Tawanda, it's all you.
Thank you, my queen. Just like my sister just said, justice for my big brother Tyrone West and all the victims of police brutality. But tonight, I wanted to have a focus on missing children, not even just missing children, missing teens, but missing people. Period. It's real. So if you guys will stay tuned, we're gonna show you the weekly video that we show every week with the one of the first officers who started murdering my brother. So if you stay tuned, the video is going to run for like 4 minutes and we'll be right back. Mic check.
Mic check.
Can't stop, won't stop, till killer cops are in cell blocks. Can't stop.
The following video portrays an incident of assault and violence at the hands of police. Viewer discretion is advised.
I suggest you back the fuck up. No,
This is Baltimore City Police Officer Jorge Bernardes Ruiz. In a video shot in 2016, Ruiz is seen with his knee on the back of an unknown man with a gun pointed at the man's head. His message was a clear one. Concerned onlookers, adhere to my dictates or else. Here, we can hear Ruiz saying to Baltimore residents,
I suggest you back the fuck up.
It is documented that Baltimore police officer Jorge Bernardes Ruiz is a repeat violent offender, even without access to all complaints against Ruiz, undisclosed by BPD Internal Affairs records. 6 cases involving Ruiz are known. This video will briefly highlight 6 total cases beginning in July of 2013. Case 1, Abdul Salam, July 1st, 2013. Here Salam is seen victoriously smiling in celebration after the jury found Ruiz and 2 other cops liable for brutality against him. However, because the trial was civil, not criminal, Ruiz was not fired and he did not go to jail.
Police profiled me. They followed me in the back of my house, harassing me. Police proceeded to violently and hostilely approach my van with me and my son in it. As I announced, this was my home, guns drawn. Once they reached my vehicle, they violently pulled me out, ramshacked my vehicle with my 3-year-old son strapped in his car seat, threw me against the gate, slammed me repeatedly, picked me up by my feet, and while I'm upside down, they proceeded to drop me on my head, hog tie me, and immediately when I fell on my head, Ruiz, in a wrestling type of action, and kind of hit his knee against my neck. I was arrested. I had no idea what I was being arrested for. My son is scarred to this day. He remembers the incident as it happened yesterday. When he talks about it, he always refers to daddy being on the floor with police yesterday.
Case 2, Darrell Harris, profiled, as seen in this video, July 17th, 2013.
Yeah, I said, what's wrong with it? Improper way with it. There's no such thing as an improper way.
You gonna tell me my job, bro?
I know the law.
Are you gonna tell me the law?
I know the law.
You gonna tell me the law?
I know the law. What's the problem? You giving me a ticket? You need my license registration?
Yeah, let me get that.
To profile, y'all use the seatbelt as a reason. Profile.
Do me a favor, take out your keys.
Dad, you can record for what? Nah. I don't feel safe right now. Do you want me to step out the car? Do you want me to step out the car? I'll step out the car. Call the police, man. What do you call a supervisor? I'm about to do shit. This is getting uploaded to the internet right now. Yeah?
And we are 2 law-abiding citizens that we are getting targeted, and I don't know why.
Just 24 hours later, Bernardes Ruiz played a leading role in the police killing of unarmed Tyrone West. Case number 3, the murder of Tyrone West. July 18th, 2013.
My brother Tyrone West was brutally murdered on July the 18th, 2013.
In both of these cases, when you look at the pleadings and the harsh language of these officers that have been quoted to me by reliable witnesses, the N-word.
And Killer Ruiz and Killer Chapman and the rest of those 11 to 15 killers, including David Lewis, took something from my family that they could never give us again. And that was my brother Tyrone West, one unarmed man who was brutally murdered, beat to death in broad daylight. Mic check.
Mic check.
Mic check.
Mic check.
Awesome. So again, thank you guys for tuning in. And just a little feedback from last week. Last week was amazing. We did a big protest at City Hall just to mix together and just see different faces, one fight, one cause, one purpose type of thing, pushing anything negative to the side and just moving forward. It was really amazing. So just thankful for that. And so tonight, my soul is like it's all shattered because it's so many missing teenagers that the news isn't highlighting right now. Like literally, it is sickening. It almost reminds me of, and thank you, Rachel, for putting our beautiful young baby up there. And I'm praying that she makes it back home to her family safe. You couldn't imagine the pain of a missing child or a missing person. That is like, oh my God, like I never, so to pretty much, and I hate to be scrambling, but I know what it feel like because when my nephew Trayvon went missing and I couldn't find him, when I say that my stomach, this is not my child, this is my nephew, this is my brother's youngest son. So when he was missing, when he went to Atlanta, Georgia, that like I couldn't sleep. It was like a big part of me was with him. And he's still going through things, and still a big part of me is still with him, but that's a whole nother story. But moving right along, what I was saying was it's so many missing teenagers, and the number is like something is going on and the media is not talking about it. So many missing teenagers. Like if you go on Baltimore City website and the county website and are missing and exploited people, you will see every day it's like 6 to 7 missing teenagers, missing young adults. And this is sick. And the part that breaks my heart about this 12-year-old baby, that literally, just could you imagine, you're going to bed literally, and you say your sweet nothings to your child, you do your daily thing, and you're in the most safe place, your home. You're not like out, because you get antsy when you're in different locations and things like that, of the what's and the whys. But typically when you're in your own home, you're vulnerable, you're feeling safe, all that. And imagine you putting your child, to sleep, or seeing your child go off to sleep. Y'all wish each other good night type of thing. And the very next day, you wake up. You literally get up and let me go check on my baby, maybe to call her to come eat breakfast. I don't know the conversation. I don't know what happened. I'm just only speculating. Okay, so you go in the room and then you don't find your child. All you find is a notation from a 12-year-old that's very sketchy, not from a grown woman or a grown man, but literally from a 12-year-old. Literally from a 12-year-old. You find a notation that tells you, hey, mom and dad, don't call the police type of thing. I didn't run away. I'll be back type of thing, and I'm going on an outing or out of town with some friends type of thing. First of all, just like the dad said, and I've been following this story closely, and I also know that Hillary knows, the family. And I know, like, one of the father, we're just Facebook friends. I don't know him personally, but I have a lot of Facebook friends, and just seeing him and his wife, going through this big nightmare. This is what it is a nightmare. You want to wake up, but you can't. You cannot. But to actually see a notation and then to top it off to make it more scarier is your child phone is right there. The thing that could track them. So that lets me know, and it's not the West Coalition, this is Wanda Jones only speculating or assuming. And you know what they say about assuming, but I don't care. I'll make an ass out myself any day when it comes to assuming things to try to help our children be safe. But I'm assuming that whoever groomed this child, they groomed her. It was a whole setup to do what they wanted to do, because they know that your cell phone is literally a tracking device, especially with all these smartphones nowadays. You can easily go to your courier and say, hey, my child is missing type of thing, unless they turn the device off, but you'll still get some type of answers, rather it's, oh, well, the phone was discarded over here, there, but to actually see the device left there. And then we all know how any teenager is. They're glued to their phone. That's all they're doing is these TikTok videos. They're talking to their friends. They're doing everything through social media on their phones. But my point is to actually go through this nightmare. I believe that tomorrow will make a week. That's what the media said, but I don't believe what the media said. From my understanding, I thought that things went underway on Thursday, or maybe she went to bed on Thursday and tomorrow, whatever, it's going on a week. My whole point, because today is Wednesday, it's going on a whole week. But the whole point is, and this is why I get really bothered by the media, because whoever they want to humanize, they humanize. Whoever they want to find or whatever, they want to show you all day long, 24 hours. They can't stop talking about a case. They're going to do it. And unfortunately, it's not our babies. And if when they talk about our babies, let's be crystal clear, they're talking about them in a negative way. It's always, oh, well, this teenager shot this one, this teenager was caught with this. It's always negative publicity. But my whole point, what's bothering me, is a baby can literally get snatched or tricked out of the safest place, and that's their home. And nobody's talking about it. And I'm so glad that they did their community thing where everybody came out, things like that to support at her school. But it is sad, and I'm just praying for a safe return. Like another teenager, she was missing, but I seen where they found her, and I had posted her picture. And again, I know a lot of people through Facebook, social media, and I think it was like the cousin or it was a family member that said, hey, underneath the poster that the flyer said, hey, we found her. And I was like, oh my God, God is so good type of thing. So happy, something along those lines. But my whole point is this is so wild because so many children are being snatched, so many missing teenagers, babies. And then it was tragic about the 6-year-old autistic child that, think got missing or whatever, roamed off, and then unfortunately they found the poor baby, in water, and he didn't make it. And it's really sad. They said, and I'm learning a lot, 'cause they said autistic children like daredevils, they love water, things like that. And I know, a little about autistic children because I have a few that I taught over the years type of thing, and they are intrigued by different things, but that's not my specialty that I specialize in. But nevertheless, I just want you guys, please keep your children close to you, as close as you can. And we think we're doing everything right as parents, and it could just be that one thing that we miss, and that one thing, and we can't. And of course, in this society where you have, the parents that have to work every day type of thing just to make it, and we check on them, we do the best that we can do, but we have to go back to that community thing. That community thing where I was brought up in. It takes a whole village to raise a child. I don't care. I could be doing something wrong on one block, but it was so close knit that if anybody saw me, I remember one time when I was a little girl, and it was certain ways, things that my family didn't play, and just me like cheering or shaking or vibrating too hard, that would, they'd be saying, oh, she's acting fast or whatever. And I know that I couldn't dance or shake like that on my mother block. So I thought if I go over 3 blocks over my friend's house and go on the porch and we shaking and we doing cheers and we doing this and we're doing that type of thing, that it would be safe. But unfortunately, fortunately, they had the visit thing. They had the visit thing. They had the visit thing, the village thing, not the visit thing. They had the village thing of a child, one, everybody raising a child. And I'll never forget my uncle came as I'm cheering. He comes around, hems me up. I didn't even know he was behind me. And come to find out somebody knew my grandmother and they called her, and yeah. But we need to do that village thing where we look out for everybody, even if we ain't doing it where as though we got each other numbers. But if you see something that ain't right or sound right, we need to start saying something. We need to step up, because there's no way in the world that some 20-year-old man should be talking to a 12-year-old child. And it's sad, like even that family member of the 20-year-old or whatever, somebody should have stepped up and said something. And I'm praying that somebody steps up and we find this baby. That's my whole point. But just keep your eyes on the media, even though I don't like it. They were not on the media because they're not reporting it. But keep your eyes literally on the Baltimore City and County Police website, and you will see missing children left and right. It gets to the point I had to stop looking at it because it got me so sick. And I'm like, hold up, this not in West Ball. I mean, this not like in North Carolina, South Carolina, Atlanta, Georgia. This is right here in my own daggone city. And that's what's alarming about it. And then you go on people's pages and you saying they sharing this teenager and pray for my friend. And I'm like, this is wow. This is crazy. Like, this can't be real, but it is our reality. And the media is not talking about it. Just like years ago, never knew that we had a serial killer that was going around raping and killing black women right here in Baltimore. I think it was somewhere in the early 2000s, but it was never talked about. But I actually go on because I like true crime shows, and I actually see this on TV, and these are real people that they're talking about. And it was like it was a serial killer in my city in 2000 that murdered over 40 women or more, and I didn't know anything about it. And I'm right here in the city. It was mind blowing. Like my mind was gone. Like I was just blown. Like I was blown. So I set out to say we have to be that village again and support each other. Don't wait until that thing knocks on your door and take out one of your children before we actually care. Like the dad said something so profound. He said, you see this kind of stuff on social media, the news, but it hits differently when it's your child, when it's your family member, when it's your loved one. It really does. And it's like I said, when they go, you go with them. And when my nephew went missing, I was literally sick to the bone, couldn't sleep. I stopped doing my favorite thing, and that was like my little tea time thing that I do, eating all good every day. Well, not good. I need to eat healthy, but nevertheless, I love to get my eat on. So with me saying that I wasn't getting my eat on, I wasn't cooking like I love cooking for my children and things like that. I wasn't doing none of that stuff. Like I literally stepped out from being myself.
Tawanda, we've lost your voice.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. But just wanted to just remind you guys how real it is, and just going out. And if you pray, please say a prayer that they bring this 12-year-old baby back. If you're not in the praying, please say nothing but positive thoughts, vibes, and all that wonderful stuff to make sure that this baby come on. If you know something in this flyer that's on there, I shared it on my Facebook page. Please just make sure you share, share, share. Because just like the dad said, that it could be someone looking at them like, oh, wait a minute, hold up, I know her or whatever, or I seen her or spotted her. Please share. So I want to check, and I see the boards, and tonight we have our brother that is here in queue that is going to be gracious enough to read. And I want to thank him in advance for taking his time out of his schedule, coming on and reading the comments. So I want to go to the comments real quick. Mic check.
Mike,
check.
Judah she says, Mike check. Angela Sutton says, Brendan Scott, what are you and the killer cops doing to find these dudes? Bill Blush says, Mike check in regard to the awful cases of missing children, and also in regard to police brutality. We are unfortunately still living in a savage period of human history. We can and must fight for a better world, a world of sisterhood and brotherhood. Dare to struggle, dare to win. Check.
Mike, check.
Mike check.
Mic check.
Mic check. And thank you guys so much for your comments and questions. Thank you so much. And I just wanna see if anybody that's in our green room now wanna say anything about what's going on. I see Hillary is here. And like I said, she
Yeah.
does know like the family. So Hillary, I'll hand it on to you if you want to say anything. Mic check.
Sure. Mic check.
Okay.
So yeah, I went to the vigil the other night, and I hadn't seen the family in a while, but knew them from a while ago, when Alana was little. And one of the things that was helpful in listening, they had a woman who was very eloquent and clearly knew what she was talking about, and I believe she was from Black and Missing, which is a national organization. And she said some things that I think are important for us all to know about situations like this. First of all, it's, parents are going to beat themselves up when this happens. And, everybody's doing the best they can to take the best care of their kids that they can. And when something like this happens, we need to not be blaming. We need to be helping. The other part, too, is she talked about definitely getting the word out. And if you see something, say something. But also she said, if you think you see her, notice all the things that are around her. Notice what she's wearing. Notice if you think you see her getting into a car or something like that, take down all the information that you can. Do not yell and try to chase, because it's likely to make it harder to get a child back if you do that. And she said a lot of other helpful things, but one of the things is it's really important is to notice everything you can and then respond to the numbers on the flyer to let people who know what they're doing have the information. One of the things we're learning these days is, especially with the internet, there are people who like a network of them that are doing things like this. And they may say they're 20, but they, if your kid is online with somebody, they may say they're 20, but they're really not. And things like that. So, talking with our kids about safety, talking with them about, what goes on the internet, and just informing folks is important. This woman got up there and said, we're going to do the best we can. We're going to focus on this child now, but this is a wake-up call for all of us as well. So I just can't even imagine what this family is going through. I remember when this girl was a baby, and it's terrifying, absolutely terrifying. My heart goes out to them, sending them love and light and prayers, and keeping our eyes open. And if you get those flyers and you want to copy them and ask businesses if you can post them, that's fine too. If you feel like you want to do something more, but definitely sharing them and not being so quick. One of the things I think happened today was that when the other young lady was found, people thought it was this young woman. And so the back and forth about that has got to be really hard for parents. So really be careful about what you post, and understand, and check things out to make sure. And the other thing that one of the people there mentioned too is that people are putting up lots of lists of different people who might have been missing for a while or for even longer. And it can be traumatizing for folks to keep seeing things or to not have it taken down once the person is found. So again, check out what you're posting before you post it. I mean, I know I've been wrong to post things that I wasn't as sure about before, and I'm going to be a lot more careful after listening to this woman. So just definitely keep the family in your hearts and your prayers, and, you know, keep posting information as it's accurately updated. But thank you for talking about it, Tawanda.
Oh no, thank you for sharing all that important, good information. And I even noticed today that someone, that's why I had to kind of go in the comments, because someone had actually took the flyer that the family made and description, and then they put found going across it. And I was like, I shared it real quick on my page, and I was like, God is so good, thank you. But then when I read the comments, I noticed that the family member, and then I went back on my friend page. I'm like, he was saying that it wasn't true. I was like, oh my goodness. So like Hillary just said, I want to reiterate it. Just make sure you're clear that if we're saying that the person is found, make sure we have full facts before we just hop up there and put some type of fly up. And it concerns me, and I hate to feel like it's a conspiracy theory about everything, but for someone to actually take the time and make the same exact flyer, because that flyer that I shared earlier looked exact pronto, and then across the front it had found real big. So it's
Yeah.
like, wow.
Yeah. Well, and then I know that I got a post from the mom who said, no, she hasn't been found yet. And that's
Yeah,
the person,
yeah,
that's the
yeah,
person who
no.
I'm, yeah.
Yeah, no, but I was just more so concerned that somebody actually. It's one thing to say, "Oh, well, they found the other missing." They just like saying it, but they actually, whoever made that post and wrote that big word "found" going across it, like, you know what I'm saying? Like it was a family member that did it. Like we shouldn't take the initiative to do stuff
Right.
like that. Like it's one thing to share like a regular post, or even if you thought and made a mistake and said, "Oh, well, the child was found," they come back and say, but to actually go and deliberately put found across and like create a whole somebody took the time to create, and that's the concerning part to me. And like I said, I hate to sound like a conspiracy theory, but I'd be
Yeah.
thinking the same damn thing with my family. You're gonna make the same post, but you're gonna create the whole image and write found across. Like that takes a lot of time, and then it don't be right. Like that's the part that
Yeah.
bothers me.
I
So
agree.
yeah. Yeah.
Agreed. Yeah. Thank you,
Mhm.
Tawanda.
Yeah, no, you're welcome. And thank you. And I wanted to check in to see if Bill, Brian, or anybody else want to say anything on behalf of this situation tonight about missing children or missing people. Mic check.
My check. Well, I appreciate all the information that you've explained, Tawanda and Hillary. It's a horrendous situation in that case and in many others. I was going to say a few words about police brutality, but I can hold off till another West Wednesday if you'd like.
No, we're going to talk about police brutality. We're just talking about this topic before we go. I'm definitely, this is my stage. I never asked for this stage, but I was forced onto it. So we definitely going to cover that. But I just wanted to take the biggest proportion to talk about these missing babies. So I wanted to know if you wanted to collectively share into anything or have any insight on this topic right here. Mic check.
Mic check. Okay, I'll hold off for another time then. I don't have any further insight about the case of this young woman.
Okay. Do anybody else have um any comments or questions that they wanted to add to the conversation?
Tawanda, I'll just kind of reiterate what you said about, we need communities to hold us together and to, make, this is just another one of those things about the burning building. We need to build communities and rely on each other and have each other's back in these situations. And then these sort of things would be much less likely to happen because there would be a tighter net around these kids. So I just want to, say that again is like, we need to be building communities in our neighborhoods and that's become really central for me. Mic check.
Mic check. I appreciate that. And I wanted to also add into the conversation that I don't like, and I found that out. And I'm glad Hillary was saying that a young lady was there speaking on behalf of the black and exploited missing people and children, things like that. But I remember watching a documentary and it made sense. And literally, I didn't know that if they report when, and they said, and it's always when, mostly the times when black people go missing, they say they ran away type of thing or what have you, and they don't treat the case the same. But as soon as a white child or, someone of their nature that wants to be highlighted, they say that they were abducted, they were snatched. That's the urgency that comes in, and I feel like that's the urgency that should come in all the cases. And don't just do that and say they ran away and just treat them like, because time is very important. Time is very important. And I remember, and a big shout out to my sister, Dr. Chi, who is the whole sponsor of the Million Women March, that she brought over 1 million women together. She was the first in history to bring 1 million women together. And I give her props and things of that. So big shout out to my sister. But she made it clear years ago that we need to have our own type of sister, having our own type of Amber Alert, maybe a Tiffany alert. I couldn't recall the name she stated, but that type of thing where so we could put out the information and you hear it over and over again. They should be having helicopters flying around. Like, time is crucial, and the more time that you put in between stuff is denying freedom, denying a person to see another day and just letting it go away. And it's sad and disgusting to me. So on that note, wanted to flip over and we're going to talk about police brutality. And it's just sad because a lot of stuff happened, because literally yesterday was the beautiful queen, may she rest in heaven, but it said it was her heavenly birthday on yesterday. Her name is Diamond. She was the beautiful teenager that I told you at the same exact time my brother got killed, or on the same day. I'm not going to say the same exact time, but literally on the same day that my brother was murdered, Diamond was murdered too. She was killed at a school. And then I believe the young teenager, after he killed her, he committed homicide. I mean, he killed his own self. He committed suicide. And then it leaves that family with no answers, no one to talk to, no one to hold responsible. And it's devastating. But the whole point is, you never know who you're going to meet up with in life. And I just remember when me and my family once, I put the word out that, yeah, I know my brother, something bad happened, because I'm so in tune to my spirit. I'm so in tuned into God. And God had already prepared my spirit, and I felt sick. I had a sick tuition that something was horrible, that I knew that I was never, ever going to see my brother again on earth. And I made the critical calls to family members, and I was looking like a stone cold nut to everybody. Like, what do you mean, Shawana? Like, what? I'm calling my daughter, and this is my oldest daughter. And at the time, she was only a teenager working at McDonald's. And I'm calling her like, sweetie, he's not coming to get you tonight. I might have to send a cab for you, but your uncle will not be there tonight. She's like, wow. I said, something bad happened, and I don't know. And for me to put that out in the air, but I just knew. I just unfortunately knew, because, like I said, I felt so much pain in my body at the same exact time that my brother was being tortured. And the fact that they let all these years go by, it breaks my heart, because we're literally a few days away from ending this month and going into the month that I hate. And the reason, and hate is a strong word, but every time July comes around, and that used to be like one of my favorite months, but now it's a nightmare for me. And I have found a picture of me when I was like happy, and literally it was a picture that I shared on my Facebook page where it showed me like literally on yesterday going on 11 years ago, before my brother was murdered. You could see like this bright light in my eyes. You could see happiness, even though I think I was tired, but you could see a whole nother Tawanda Jones. I literally changed into a whole nother person on July the 18th, 2013. And it's sad that we get ready to go on to 11 years. I'm tired of going to Kentmore and Cowsway where they slaughtered my brother, where some of my family members, you couldn't pay them $1 billion to go. But I have to go back there. I feel compelled to go back there and just bring positive energy, and then pray to that at the same time that maybe one day that the video that has been pretty much took by intentionally done by the Baltimore City Police Department and Morgan State University, intentionally took videos from witnesses on the scene. And I will never see those videos. I want to say, I ain't gonna say never, I ain't gonna throw that into the atmosphere, but I feel like, they've been hiding these videos forever, but it's sad that why do we have to see a video of one unarmed man being tortured? We shouldn't have to see a video. You have all the depositions, you have all the witness, but meanwhile, y'all let 11 years when it hit next month go by and nobody ain't in the damn cell block. Ruiz is still doing what the hell he does, and that's terrorizing and brutalizing, but he's doing it with promotion. He's doing it with promotion. Great promotion. While he sits down and, lives his life pretty much with the state attorney Michelle Battle, and he get to go home and enjoy dinner with her. He snatched my brother away. Him and his 16 maniac buddies. It was 17 that murdered my brother. It's disgusting. One unarmed man. And that breaks my heart every time. And for these people to play with a person, family. See, the thing is, that's why I say we need to knock this whole entire system down. Because I see, at first I was blind, but now I see. I see clearly the foolishness. Because if the system wants to calm you. The system wants you to believe that they're going to fix it and everything else, but they're not going to. It's just pretty much to have you in a calm state of mind, and they can do what they do, and that's fellas. But meanwhile, when a Caucasian person, I'm going to call a spade, when a Caucasian person is killed, and even if it is by a killer cop, because I remember when that white woman was killed by that Muslim cop when she came to his car, and I can't think of the name, and I wish I could be more prepared and have like documents down with the person's name so I could take you guys back there and you can see and all that kind of stuff. But the thing is, my daughter came here, she wanted me to do something, and I'm like, I'm on Facebook Live, I can't do anything right now but focus. But anyway, I wish I had the names of the people so we can accurately refresh your memories. But the whole point was they called her, you can Google it, Google the most innocent victim, and you'll see a white woman pop up. And the whole thing was she had called 911 to report that someone was being robbed or something was happening in the community. And with that being said, she walked up, the police was sitting in the alleyway, and she walked up, I guess, to ask him a question, might have knocked on his window, I don't know what, but he shot her. And quickly, they arrested him. He was fired first, immediately. But then for them to call her the most innocent victim, and mind you, we done had Tamir Wright, a baby, a 12-year-old baby playing in a damn park. They never called him an innocent victim. A child is more innocent to me than a grown-up. I'm sorry. But whenever it's white America, and this is not the West Coalition, this is Tawanda Jones. So please don't hold anyone associated with me to what I'm saying. This is how I feel. And I'm going to speak from my heart because ain't nobody paying me, ain't nobody stopping me. So my whole point is, when it's white people that get murdered and slaughtered, they highly talk about them and a highlight, just like a Caucasian female that got killed by the immigrant. Now they want to talk about Russian laws like it ain't even been a whole year when she was killed at the mom and pa trail, but they humanize her. Every time you see a picture of her, let's be clear, they paint a motherly picture. She was a mom. She was a mom. But how many of our mothers, how many of our fathers, how many of our babies have been slaughtered? They didn't even humanize India Kager, someone that fought, a beautiful veteran that fought for our damn country. And they killed her, executed the father, and left the baby delayed. And my sister Gina fights for her baby and her babies every day of her life. They never called her the innocent victim. If somebody want to highlight and call her innocent victim, you got a mom that just gave birth to a baby, and she's like, okay, me and dad not together, but dad want me to come to Virginia Beach to show off our baby. This is what I'm going to do. We still co-parenting type of thing. And then they kill her. They could have waited. They didn't have to kill him. But my point is, you knew what you was doing. That was a clear execution. So my point, I can go on all day, all night about how they do it. But like I said, you're going to hear constantly, and we've been hearing about it since it happened. And they found the killer, like literally they didn't have no trace. They brought him, they extradited him and everything, gave him no bail. They made sure they brought him back. They extradited who they want to bring back. But meanwhile, I'm still trying to figure out what the hell happened to my cousin Tavon Anderson. I'm tired of scrambling. But what I'm saying to you guys is when I get to talk about my cousin and the foolishness, you will understand. Some things is like a puzzle when you can't figure out the piece. But then once you start putting the whole puzzle together and you have it right in front of you, then you're like, oh, well, this makes sense when the puzzle come together. So trust me, when I'm able to talk, you ain't going to be able to shut me the hell up. And the only reason why I'm being quiet is for respect out of my family that told me shut my mouth. So with that being said, I just want to say the media plays a big part. This system plays a big part in who they humanize. Like I said, every time you see a picture of this lady, and nobody deserves to be brutalized, and my heart goes out to about any woman because I'm a woman. It doesn't matter what color or anything or any human. I'm a human being. But my whole point is, when we're murdered, you don't hear anything. And just like when we had that rapist, Billion, whatever his name is, you know what? That pretty much when he killed that young white tech or whatever, they want to talk about that. They wanted to push a law, but it didn't go through. But they didn't talk about the black victim. They talked about up the hill, but they didn't want to talk about down the hill. Well, she was actually her throat was cut, tortured, throat slash, all of that. Nobody wants to talk about that. Nobody even see her face. Nobody even hear her. But you keep on hearing about a victim that's not even here. You keep seeing her picture. Some of them showing she came before. And that's the part they forget about, the victims that came before. And that's why I get really frustrated. And I have every right, and ain't nobody gonna stop me. I have every right to feel the way I feel. Because again, my brother's stuff got kicked down the road like a damn can. And I ain't missed no protest. I ain't missed no beat. I ain't missed being at a conference. I ain't missed none of it. And that's how they treat me, as if I missed something. Or like they're going to get over on me. You're not going to play that game because I've been out there, buddy, since July the 19th. Matter of fact, July the 18th. Let's start with the day he got murdered. Because I was out there in homicide talking to Detective Gatto and all those devils. Okay, I was out there ever since they murdered my brother, and I still ain't turned. But you know how draining this is. Do you know the retribution that I have to go through? Them showing up at my home, them knocking over flowers, they doing dumb stuff. But they ain't gonna stop me. That let me know I'm still powerful. And every time you do something, smile, you on Candy Cam, I'm gonna put you on blast. You can do whatever you want to do, but you're not gonna stop me. So that's why I say we need to knock this whole entire dirty, corrupt system down and build it back up. It's a capitalist system that don't give a darn about anything. It's all about the money. If you notice that everything that they talk about, money is more important than a human life, and it's not. It should never be that way. But because of your class, the ruling class, they want us to believe that, oh, we're going to get accountability. Oh, it's coming. It's not. It's not. They like to keep us calm. They like to keep you talking online, crying in person. They come, they wipe your tears, they laugh at you, they give you phony I'm sorry's and nothing but kicking you down the road with your loved one. The only reason why my brother ain't died yet, because I won't let him die, and I'll never let him die. You might have physically killed him, but he will never die. You hear me? You got that? As long as my big mouth is here, and even if God forbid you do something to me, he's never gonna die. Because I done put the word out so much about Tyrone West. He's never going to die. You're never gonna kill his name. You tried it. Nobody helped me get on the national level. The national level. Only me and God. My pursuit. Keep on pushing. Keep on pushing. Never stop. I had so many people lie in my face. It's disgusting. But I'm not going to scramble all night, but it breaks my heart. My brother just missed another birthday. 10 years of his life just snatched. He's supposed to be here with his children, his grandbabies, living his best life. Me and him making jokes at each other. And y'all took that from me. And you think I'm going to honestly walk away? Do you think for 1 second that I'm going to stop? I don't care. Like, this thing have followed me to my workplace. And guess what, baby? I'm still at the same workplace. It'll be 18 years in August. I'm still there. Y'all tried to send it there. Y'all got me kicked out my classroom, floated all around. All that. I'm still here standing strong. And I'm going to still be here standing strong. So you already know it's not about the income. Not about the income. It's about the damn outcome. And I'm going to keep on fighting for the outcome. This capitalist system will not sell me out. You cannot buy my blood. You cannot. It's not that you can write a check. It wouldn't be fat enough for me to sell any of my brothers and sisters out. I'm going to keep fighting. I'm going to keep screaming. And I'm not just here for Tyrone West. I'm for all the victims. Anthony Anderson, Timothy Flemings. And you heard me say India Kager. All the victims. Tamir Rice, Kevin Cooper, Dale Graham. The list goes on. You will never. And then my heart is going out to Jesse Saray's family. His beautiful mom is fighting every day in court, and I couldn't imagine what this beautiful sister, my friend, is sitting there going through. You have to watch, and I'm going to leave y'all with this, and I'm going to let Uncle Bill, because I know he said he wanted to talk about police brutality, and I know we got a list of sad names, but I just want to say this. Just imagine. This is how dirty the system is. I'll give you prime example. Now, when these maniacs are killing us, you saw just a little tad bit of Ruiz and Chapman. That was the first two that started murdering my brother. You saw Darrell Harris 24 hours right around in that same community. 3 blocks over from where my brother was murdered. You hear Darrell saying, I don't feel safe. And like my sister Dina, shout out, she caught it when Chapman said, I don't care if you don't feel safe. Talking all type of trash, and y'all only got a little snare bit. And then you see the video where he's telling everybody, get the fuck back. Excuse my language. I apologize. Because it could be babies listening to me, but excuse my explicit language, but I'm just only copycatting, repeating mimicking what Ruiz, the killer, this unhinged maniac. And every time I talk about him, do you know how much I put a target on my back? I don't care. I know he watched me every week. I broadcast his video. I don't care. That picture that you see at the end of the video where he got his phone up, yeah, that was my family member in his face, snapping his picture, his recent picture, because when he killed my brother, this coon, this maniac, this psycho, this bully, he had a bald head. He grew a whole full head of hair. He's a maniac, an unhinged maniac, a coward. Okay? Let's be crystal clear. But my whole point, back to the courthouse. Now, you have them acting like maniacs when they're killing us, calling us, get the F back. I was using that as an example. Back the F up. The same thing can happen to you. That's what he always said. He said that on the scene when he killed my brother. He urged all the witnesses, 32 or more residents that came down. Imagine on a hot summer's day where the sun is shining, still bright. It ain't dark. He ain't killed my brother in the alley. They killed my brother in the middle of the goddamn street at the corner. Let's be crystal clear. at the corner of a block by a stop sign. You beat them from one side of the street to the next one with people video, and you're telling people, get the F back in the house. The same thing can happen to you. But my point is, thinking about my queen, that to watch the murders the murderers that murdered Jesse Surratt coming to the courtroom. Now, they're not the same maniacs. They not coming in there saying, get the F back. The same thing can happen to you. They coming in there with the best suit on. They coming in there with the same lawyer that represents all of the corrupt killer cops that's in the politics. They don't get their own paid attorney, but they're coming there looking good. And the first thing them animals say, I don't recall. Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. Where was all that? Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. So that's my whole point. And then for this sister queen had to sit there and see the murderers that murdered her son in cold blood. Cold blood. Come walking in there with their suit on, with their fancy attorneys on, talking about something I don't recall. Because I had to go through that. When I saw Abdul Salam and I went, and this unfortunately, we were sort of been having a criminal case, but they want to give you a civil case because they don't care about us. This is a capitalist system. Think that they can just send a check in your hand and just send you away. Didn't work on my day. Because I told them to take that check and sit on it and rotate it where the sun don't shine. So I'm gonna stop because I see the boards lighting up. I want to give a brother a chance to read the rest of the comments. Then I will go to Uncle Bill to see what he want to talk about. Then unfortunately we got to go to the sad list. Mic check.
Mic check.
Hillary Robbins Hellerback says, as a white woman, I agree that the media and the police takes much more seriously when it involves white victims. This is wrong and it shouldn't be that way. A victim is a victim. The system supports power and privilege for white people. This thing. And Bruce Emerling says, mic check. Mic check.
Mic check. Thank you. Thank you so much for that. Bill, the floor is all yours. Mic check.
Good evening, everyone. I just wanted to talk for a minute about the pervasiveness of police brutality. We usually talk about the people who've been killed by police, these horrible murders, and there are about 1,100 every year, 21 a week, about 3 a day, and it's actually gone up in the last couple of years. So I don't know the exact number for each week and each day now, but it's a little bit more. But the other side of it is that for each time they kill somebody through police brutality, there are many others who they use excessive force on and brutalize who survive. So according to the best information we can find, there are about 88,000 cases each year in the United States of excessive force by police that doesn't lead to death, but it leads to injury and all kinds of other problems. So if we figure out the numbers, that means for every time the police kill someone, there are 80 cases. For one death, there are 80 cases of brutality besides that one death. And that comes out to about, each day, about 240 cases of brutality. Or if we think about it in terms of timing, there's a case of police brutality in the United States about once every 6 minutes. So just in terms of understanding the enormity of this problem, the vicious racism at the heart of this problem that you spoke about eloquently, Tawanda, and Hillary also, in terms of the racism inherent in the missing children issue, I just wanted to point that out. That it's not as horrible as it is. It's not just the people who are killed by the police. It's also the much larger number of people who are brutalized, and we don't often hear about it, but it's tremendous numbers. And it happens all the time. Mic check.
Mic check.
Mic check.
And that was an excellent point, because like I always say too, didn't say it tonight, but I echo those sentiments, because again, we only hear about like the people that died. We're not going to hear about the 500 or 600 or plus people that was brutalized in a day, in a day's time, in every city. It's a worldwide thing, unfortunately, but we're not going to hear about them. And it's unfortunate you barely even hear about the ones that are being murdered. And then when they talk about them, that's why I hate when they say, oh, well, they had a gun or they had a replicate gun. We don't give a damn what they had, because I've seen so many high speed chases. Because again, I told y'all, I love true TV, true crimes. I literally, and I'm going to go and check in with the comments, because I could bear one going all night, because it's a hot topic to me. But my point is, I literally saw, and I wasn't even gonna watch it because every time they show these cop shows, and glad years ago Uncle Bill had pointed out that why don't they show shows where firefighters are fighting, because they put their life on the line. That to me, they don't know, like, if a whole house gonna cave in on their head. But they don't put them out there. But they always want to show you a cop show, body camera footage. And I remember growing up watching Bad Boys Cops and singing a song and watching it all that. But they show you that to try to keep your mind on this dirty system, like they're needed and what they're doing is cool, and it's not. It's not cool. But my whole point is, I actually saw, it was a white guy, and he was in a 18-wheeler, and he had his wife hostage. He literally had, I think he already raped her, took out her because she was going through a divorce with him. So he brutalized her, raped her, and then I think the neighbor tried to come out to help her, and he pretty much blew the neighbor away, put her in the 18-wheeler, and they did a high-speed chase. But the way, and they was like, well, we can't like throw out our regular traps to stop it, because they wasn't trained to like stop a big truck that in that means, But my whole point was, literally, even when they got the wife, it took like, and knowing, like, I was going to turn my channel, but I'm like, wait a minute, they chasing the 18 wheel. I wonder how this going to end. But to make a long story short, they wind up, even after they got out the car, because some type of way that I don't know what was going on, but the car came to, like, I think he might have ran out of gas, because this high speed chase went on for a very long time, and it kind of ran out of chase. But then he was using the back of the truck, and he kept telling her he was a trained shooter. He used to be an ex-cop and all this stuff, and he know how to shoot. Long story short, they wouldn't shoot him because they didn't want his wife to get shot or whatever. But even once he wound up, because I think he wound up stabbing her, because he had, not only did he have a knife and a gun, a gun, but he had a knife as well. But to make a long story short, he stabbed her in her leg when she had called 911. It was bleeding real bad. And then I guess he grew her conscious, and they was like, well, just let her out so we could treat her, and you can keep on going. But long story short, they wind up getting the wife safe. And then even at that moment, they said they had a sharpshooter that could wipe him out. But guess what? They didn't. Even though I don't want to see any human being, whether you're white, black, Chinese, green, purple, yellow, whatever the colors of the rainbow, I don't want to see anybody get killed. Nobody deserves to be brutally murdered. And I'm going to stick to that. No one, whether your sex, your race, none of that. Your class, none of that. But my whole point was, even when they had a chance to take him out, they did not take him out. And then literally he kept saying it's going to be suicide by cop. They would not shoot him. And they only tased him one time. And I was shocked. They tased this maniac one time in his leg. He fell, and they jumped on his back, and they handcuffed him. But meanwhile, you go up in Corinne Gaines' house and you execute her. When her mother said, let me talk to her, Miss Rhonda Doran said, let me talk to my baby, you said, no, I'm tired of this bull. It ends now. And Kyle with Ruby shot through and executed her, and then shot her baby in the face. Did you call her innocent victim? Hell to the no. She even won money. Y'all took it back. Like, y'all, this system disgusts me. It's sickening. So I'm going to end on that note. I love you all, and I'm going to let y'all go to the line to check on the questions and comments, and we're going to go to the sad list. Mic check.
Mic check.
Mic check.
Dwanda, I don't think we have any new comments. I think you can just, if you want to read the disclaimer.
Okay, well, unfortunately, I can't read the disclaimer because I'm on my device, but I'd rather try to, get out the critical points myself, because it's more organic anyway. So I'm going to start off by saying First of all, I just want to thank you, Chet, and every last one of you guys for tuning in. And I just want to let you know it is the mission of the West Coalition to pretty much highlight all the victims, of police brutality and murder. But unfortunately, we get these names from a national level, and we also get these names from a local media outlet. And unfortunately, the worst part about it is we have no details surrounding what happened to any of these victims. So we have no details, and we're not here to traumatize anyone. So I apologize in advance that if we read a name of somebody that you may have deemed, oh my goodness, they did this, that, and the third, or what have you. We don't know anything about that. We're just trying to come from a caring spot. And we believe in mediation. We believe that if you have any disputes, instead of killing each other, you can always sit down at a table, talk it out, and come to a decision where both parties can walk away safely. You can agree to disagree, you know, and we just want to just do this because we know that losing anyone, whether it's community violence or police brutality, it's losing a loved one. And at the end of the day, when someone family member is murdered, no one cares if it was by the police or no one cares that it was by someone in our community. But the only difference is when a police officer kills you, the difference is they are not held accountable. You can have all the details or they water it down. And it's something you only get few cases like in George Floyd because it was a worldwide type of thing. And everybody pulled together and said, hold up, you ain't doing this. You killed them during that pandemic, and everybody that normally probably, if the city was open like it is now, wouldn't even have been watching it. Probably wouldn't even have got the same result. But however, everybody was watching when this unarmed man life was snatched by Derek Chauvin. So my whole point is we're only doing this from a place of love and respect and care. So please don't judge us, and we apologize if we offend anyone. And we have uplifted, we have pretty much have a new list that we get the names from, because at first the list that we had, which was from the Washington Post, that list only showed the victims that were gunned down, and we know that Tyrone West nor Freddie Gray was gunned down, so they wouldn't have been on this list. But we have upgraded to me, it seems like a better data system in keeping, because at the same time, these are victims that were pretty much killed, beat to death, or whatever, and you're going to get those names regardless. And I like how they say the police didn't want you to know, or something like that along the lines. But again, we're gonna take the time now is 8:10. So we're going to come back at 8:12 to read the sad list. And we're going to start off with the community violence list when we come back. So 2 minutes. If you pray, pray. If you don't, that's fine. 2 minutes of silence showing respect and positive love, prayers, and all that. Mic check.
Mic check.
Mic check.
Thank you guys. The time now is 8:12. So I'm gonna turn it over to our brother Brian to see if he has the community violence list. Mic check.
My check.
Mic check.
Thank you,
Check,
Tawanda.
check.
We have a community violence list this week, and as always, each of these names represents a whole world of people: friends, mothers, fathers, brothers, sisters, co-workers. This is we're going to read out 3 names this week, but the communities that are affected reaches hundreds of people, and so we just lift them up to honor and respect those relationships, and to dedicate ourselves to eliminating violence in our community. And so if you could just echo back to me: Dennis Edmonds.
Dennis Edmonds.
April Patterson.
April
Patterson.
Marvin Moore.
Marvin
Moore.
And there have been 3 other homicides in Baltimore in the past week, but the names have not been released. So we will give those to you as soon as we get them. Thank you.
Thank you, brother Brian. Mic check. So I don't know who's going to be reading the police brutality list, but the floor is all yours. Mic check.
Mic check.
Mic check. Well, we're not going to actually read any names this evening, but let me explain. We switched to as you were pointing out, Tawana, we switched to a new list which is put out by Campaign Zero, and they call it Mapping Police Violence. And there are 2 versions of this list. One is more up to date, but we contacted them and said, which list should we use? And they said they like to double check, make sure all the facts are correct, make sure they can get the names if possible, if the police are withholding them. So the more up-to-date list, since we spoke last week, has the names of 17 new stolen lives in just a 5-day period from June 10th to June 14th. But the list they suggested that we use, which apparently is checked more carefully, has no new victims' names listed. So we'll check with them once more to see if they still suggest we keep using the list that's slightly behind, but which is apparently double checked more carefully. And therefore, we don't have anyone to uphold this evening, and we'll get back to that at the next West Wednesday. Excuse me. Mic check.
Mic check, and thank you for that. And I was going to suggest, and maybe this is not appropriate, this should have been for a planning meeting, but it's on my heart and I don't want to forget. But I'm thinking, even though the Washington Post only, lists, the victims that, were gunned down type of thing. But if we have the time, I would love for us to be able to, like, if we could, like, look on both of the lists and do a kind of comparison thing to see, because I don't want, just because like one person says, oh, well, wait, and then it said like 17 in a week, like that's disgusting. So I just, that's something we could talk about in the West Wednesday planning meeting. But yeah, just wanted to throw that out there. So all my family tonight, my West Wednesday family, keep my boots tied up and make sure we talk about that on our next planning meeting next week.
Very
So,
good.
all right.
By
Well,
by the way,
go ahead, I'm sorry.
I just was going to say, by the way, it was 17 police killings in less than a week. It was just 5 days.
Oh wow. So that's terrible. Yeah,
Yes.
so yeah, that's awful. So again, just like I brought the topic in, and Rachel, if you could show our baby again, please show her. If anybody has any information, please, guys, please. You see her beautiful face, you see her name, please. And I'm praying that they bring Alana home safely. I'm praying. Like, if anybody's watching this, if you're on YouTube, share this, and just keep the family in prayers and thoughts, and not just this family, but all the families, all of our babies around the world, because we know that it's not a citywide thing. I mean, it's not a city thing, but it's a worldwide thing. This is happening literally in every city. And, we something needs to be done. And that's the most sad thing, 'cause we know nobody just becomes like missing, like you just vanish. Nobody just vanish like in broad daylight or air, just like sucked up to the sky. Even though and it makes you feel like some type of way. So again, I'm sending nothing but love. I'm sending prayers. Please, let's get to that village thing again. If you are around anyone that's talking and you hear or you feel like something ain't right, or you see somebody grown talking to somebody baby, you need to check them. And I just want to say this, and I'm gonna leave it alone, because I meant to share this earlier, but like I said, I'm all over the place. But I remember a time when I was a teenager. And don't think that your child can't get in enough, and that, or you're a bad parent, like my beautiful sister Hillary said, because things we start blaming ourselves. But I remember, as guarded as I was, first of all, Tyrone West wasn't just my big brother. Tyrone West was my whole father. He ain't let no boys call the house for me. He would hang up. Like, he did not play about his little sister. So let's get that real clear out there. But my whole point was, I remember one time when me and my best friend, we literally went to the airframe, and I just remember, and we were teenagers. We were glad to be at the airframe, and we went to like see little boys and stuff like that, see who we could meet and get their phone number type teenagers. Teenagers gonna be a teenager. So at that time, we went to see the airframe. We enjoyed the show, but most importantly, we enjoyed mingling with other teenagers. And I'll never forget, it was this like older looking man that tried to talk to me, but I didn't want to talk to him at all, even though he said that he was 18 at the time. I never forget, like I could have been maybe not even 12, like literally like 12 years old. And I lied to my parents, and I told them that my best friend mother was taking us, because no way in the world she would have let my 12-year-old self go. And at the time, I used to be in downtown Baltimore, but she would have never let me go downtown, by myself. So to make a long story short, to speed it up, went with my best friend. Now we acting like we grown. So when he said he was 18, his face looked old to me. But now I'm thinking about it, he probably was about 38 years old. I'm in my tank thinking like, oh my God, 18, that's too old. But my friend was like, girl, he got a fancy car. Just let him, take us home or whatever. So he took us home, and I didn't feel. I said, well, girl, he gonna drop you off at your mother's house, because I don't want him to know where I live at. Make a long story short, he asked for my phone number. And I didn't want to give it to him, but I was kind of scared, because he's like, you better give me the right number. I'm great calling now and ask for you. So I knew at that moment. And he's a predator. That's what predators do. So anyway, long story short, I gave him my phone number. This grown man waited a whole month later to call me. So when he called me, he said, oh, I met you a while back. He never said where. Back then, like I was meeting boys. I shouldn't have been, but I was meeting boys or whatever. So when he said, he called me like late at night, so I'm sneaking on the phone and I'm praying that, because my mother used to work a night shift, so my grandma was watching me, so I stay on the phone, so I wouldn't risk that thing of him calling while and she picking up, like, what in the world you calling her for? So I was on the phone or whatever. It was late, like it was around 10:30 at night or whatever, but I'm on the phone or whatever. First I'm talking to my friend, I clicked over, it's him, and he's like, I just want to see you real quick. I just want to take you. And I'm trying to remember, like, who is Tony? Because at that time, I met like 10 Tonys. So I'm like, what Tony? And then he sounds so intriguing. And he was like, just, come to the door. I just want to see you. Maybe we could ride. And then at the time, I was lying, because I was acting like I was like 16 years old or whatever. I thought it was cool to be a 16-year-old. Long story short, I'm like, he's like, how old are you? You never told me your age. I said, I'm 16. He was like, oh, okay, I thought you said that. Long story short, this grown man comes. Mind you, I sneaks out my grandmother's house. I take the phone off the hook. I take the phone completely off the hook. leave it to the sound was coming on. So it was completely off the hook. I snuck out the house. I'm thinking me and him go, I'm going, see somebody, a young Tony that I know or whatever. I see this old man face that I'm thinking 18, but like I said, now to me, thinking back in the time, he probably was like 38. So now I'm scared, like, oh snap, it's him. I didn't even want, because last time I told you, I got him to let me off at the corner house where my best friend lived at. My grandmother's house was in the middle of the block. So I'm like, oh my God, I done messed up. I done gave him the answer. So I walk over to the car. I'm thinking I'm just going to go to the car and say hi to him. That's what he said. He said, just let me see your face real quick. Come to the door. You 16. You can come to the door. That's how he manipulate me. Like, you 16. I thought you were 16. What, you 10? You can't come to the door? And I'm like, now I'm trying to act like I'm really going. I'm like, okay, I'm coming to the door. So I took the phone off and I snuck out the house. Do you know, when I got out there, this grown man was like, get in. When I saw his face, I literally almost passed out. And he like, oh, get in the car. So now I'm feeling like I'm in trouble. He like, oh, why you told me you lived up the street? That wasn't y'all. So this your wrong. So now I'm feeling scared and guilty. He took off riding with me like y'all wouldn't have never even met me. I could have been gone by a predator. That's how real it was. But this memory did not come back into my brain till I saw what happened to that 12-year-old. And I'm thinking like, oh my God, when I was 12, I was almost abducted. This man took me, and I'll never forget, he took me to ride way into Lincoln Park. And back then, I didn't even know that's where they was leaving bodies at. But he's like, I'm like, where are we? I didn't even know, because I'm like, we way across from town. You know, I'm always like, why is we in Lincoln Park? He's like, we in Lincoln Park. He said, I'm gonna teach you how to drive today. This is how much I love you. I didn't know this man from a can of paint. He was like, drive my car. I'm like, I don't know anything about driving. He kept saying, I thought you was 16. I said, well, still, I never practiced driving. But when I tell you, I just drove a straight line. I'm like, because he was like, get over here and drive. And when I say I could have crashed up the car, whatever. Long story short, so as soon as I did like a fast one, he threw the car and parked like, you could have crashed my car. You know how much money? You know how much money I paid for this car? Then he kept saying how he wanted to make love to me. At this time, I'm a virgin, so I'm scared. I'm freaking out. I'm in a dark park. I'm like, oh my God, I left my grandmother door unlocked. I done left the phone off the hook. This man could kill me right now, and nobody would have no clue as to how Tawanda Jones got taken out the house in the middle of the night. He manipulated my mind. So now I have to manipulate his mind. He was like, I'm gonna make love to you. We're gonna go get a hotel, all this stuff. I'm scared as I don't know what. So what I did was I was like, well, look, I said, I have to go back home just to get my notebook and stuff like that. I said, can I go to school from the hotel or whatever? He was like, yeah, I'll buy you some new books. And he showed me all this money and all this stuff. And he was like, I'll buy you some notebook. Don't worry, I said, no, if I don't go back in the house and get my book back. And I said, plus, I was just like in my mind, just thinking of anything. I'm like, plus I got this new nightgown. He said, you got a new nightgown. He's a sick bastard. So he's like, yeah, I want to see it. I said, well, let me go get my nightgown. And I have to get, I said, my book bag and stuff like that. I said, because I told him at the time, I said, my trade class, my home economic class is nursing, and I have to have my nursing uniform on. But if I don't have that one, they're not going to let me in class tomorrow, whatever. So something I thought of quick. This idiot pervert, by the grace of God, brought me back home to get my clothes. And when I say, soon as he came, I was like, I'm just gonna run in real quickly, grab my items, and I'm coming back. I say, and then he was like, you love me? And I'm like, yeah, I love you. When I say God is so good, and when I seen him driving me from a dark park, drove me all the way back over to my grandmother's house. I was never so happy to get into my grandmother's house. And then I locked that door so fast. And then he had the nerve to come and tap on the door. And at this moment, I didn't care if my grandma woke up, because I wanted to wake up, but I was scared because I'm like, she said grown man. I didn't care if I was going to get grounded for months. At this moment, when he came to the door, I'll never forget, I said, my mother is on the phone now calling 911. You might want to leave. And he pulled off. And that scared me. So my whole point of that scary nightmare, this could have been anybody, baby. So don't think your baby can't be manipulated, because I thought about this horrible memory that I definitely had to share. Sorry I took a lot of time, but that, like, memories just come back to you. And I think our body processes like traumatizing situations to where as though it buries in your mind so that way you can live and survive. You survive through it. It kind of goes, I call it a memory box. So it went in my memory box. I literally didn't touch it because it was so traumatized to me. But then when I heard about that baby leaving the house, and I was like, oh my God, this was me. This was Tawanda Jones when I was 12 years old, sneaking out my damn grandmother's house while my mother was at work. So again, watch your babies, y'all. Watch your babies. Live to love, love to live. I love you all. We will see you guys next West Wednesday. And if you please stay tuned to the video and watch it to the end again. And if you can figure out what can we do, because again, we're going on 11 years, no accountability. Justice delayed is justice denied. Mic check.
Mic check.
Mic check.
And Mr. West begging for his life, and Mr. Salam begging for his child to be excluded and comforted from what was taking place. Not for himself, but for his 3-year-old child.
Case number 4, Adina Britt and family, September 10th, 2015.
My name is Adina Britt, and I wanted to submit a 30-second testimonial that Jorge Omar Bernardez Ruiz is one of the 11 terrorists that came into my house performing a home invasion in September 2015, terrorizing my entire family and even holding my 12-year-old son at gunpoint. He needs to be stopped.
Case number 5, unidentified arrestee, assaulted in 2016.
I suggest you back the fuck up. No, why you
Again, this video did not surface until the summer of 2020. Case 6, Thomas McCullough, May 2016 and February 2017.
I heard my front door coming off the hinges like it exploded.
Thomas McCullough says it happened twice. In May 2016 and February 2017, Baltimore City Police burst through his green front door and raided his Pimlico home.
They said, police. They come up, shotguns, guns.
He says officers ransacked the place, looking for drugs, money, and weapons. He took pictures of the damage he says they left behind.
Tell us where the drugs are, the scales, the guns, and the large amounts of money.
Nothing was found. Now he's suing police, claiming officers, including a former member of the gun trace task force, frightened him, his wife, and father-in-law when the officers conducted what his suit calls an illegal search of his home. The owner of the house tells 11 News after the second raid, he had to replace the front door. McCullough and his attorney say they want Baltimore police held accountable.
There is a colossal breach of trust.
And McCullough tells us following both raids, no one was arrested or charged.
This all begs the question, when will Baltimore City State's attorney see the prosecution of Bernardez Ruiz as warranted?
They were the stopping officers in these so-called jump-out cars, unmarked and so forth, that stopped both the West vehicle and the Salam vehicle without probable cause. And these officers are the ones that also were joined by others, but they are the ones who initiated the stops, pulled both men out of the vehicles, and commenced the vicious activity that was thrust upon them.
And the officer Ruiz that started this attack is still working and working with promotions. He is now sergeant. But the fact that this repeat violent offender had a history leading up to my brother. There was Darrell Harris, there was James Green, Joseph Green, Abdul Salam. No one family deserves to be brutally murdered or brutalized by this repeat violent offender Ruiz. It is time we take action. The time is now.
Baltimore police officer Jorge Bernardez Ruiz is a repeat violent offender. Based on these accounts, in accordance with the law, we, the West Coalition, call for him to be fired, prosecuted, and incarcerated.
We're more than hashtags and body bags. We're more than being 6 feet in the dirt and pictures and buttons on t-shirts. Our lives matter.
For the safety of our city, the prevention of further harm, and the justice for these families, we see no other option.
And again, I'll say, the time is now.